Defacto World 12.
Poland, a nation of great resilience and talent, with a rich heritage of industry and culture. It is one of the fastest developing countries in Europe. Having overcome immense trials, they are a people renowned for remarkable achievements in science, culture, and the arts. In this episode of Defacto World, we are taking you on a journey visiting its first capital, Krakow, as well as historic streets of Wrocław and the vibrant culture of Warszawa. We will also look at Poland's industries, from coal mining to agriculture and pharmaceutical production, that continue to shape its growth. Finally, we will be looking into how the peoples of Mongolia and Poland are connected through the shared history and countless endeavors by bringing together many impressions and conversations along the way, highlighting the official visit of the heads of state. Economic achievements and industrial development. Since joining the European Union in 2004, Poland's economy has grown at a rapid pace. The country's industrial sector has developed particularly well, with key areas including energy, mining, agriculture, and pharmaceuticals. Energy industry. Poland consumes nearly 180 terawatt-hours of energy each year, powered by an installed capacity of 60 gigawatts. For generations, the nation has relied on coal, and today, almost two-thirds of its electricity still comes from it. In recent years, however, the share of renewable energy sources such as solar and wind has steadily increased, now reaching around 20%. By the 2030s, Poland aims to introduce nuclear energy and transition toward a more diversified, lower-emission system. One of the major players in Poland's energy market is Horus Energia. Founded in 1984, the company offers full range of power generation equipment and services. Their ongoing research and development on cleaner technologies helps deliver solutions that give consumers more options in sustainable energy and reduce their carbon footprint. The company designs power generators that combine multiple renewable energy sources like natural gas, biogas, and hydrogen, ensuring reliable electricity for every client. About 25 years ago, Horus launched a joint venture in Mongolia called Horus, which continues to operate successfully to this day. We visited the Budryk mine of the JSW company, located in the southern Silesian region of Poland. There are a total of 48 coal deposits worked through 23 mines nationwide. 4 of them are operated by JSW. Budryk is the deepest coal mine in the world, plunging 1,500 meters underground. Its greatest challenge is methane gas, which is highly explosive. To make the mine safer and more efficient, the gas is continuously captured and used to generate electricity. Construction of the mine began in 1978. Extraction of coal started in 1994. Since then, 364 kilometers of tunnels were developed and 84 million tons of coking coal were produced. The JSW Group is the largest producer of coking coal in the European Union. It is also a major producer of coke. It operates 3 coke producing companies. Together, they process 5 million tons of hard and semi-soft coal annually. This yields 3 million tons of coke and other key raw materials for the European market. With more than 2,000 employees, JSW is the largest producer and exporter of coke in Europe.
Дөрвөн кок хийдэг компани байт юм байна. Тэр дөрвийн хамгийн том нь өөрөө 3 юм үйлдвэртэй юм байна. Тэгээ энэ үйлдвэрлэлээр нь ирээд ингээ яг яг ийм кокс хийдэг технологитой танилцлаа. Энэ олон замууд болохоор зэрэг наашаага болохоор кокс аваад буцаагаад явуулдаг ийм систем юм байна. Хоёр янзын технологи байд юм байна. Хуурай бөхөөх, quenching гэдэг. Хуурай бөхөөх, нойтон бөхөөх гэдэг. Сая энд ийм 4 камера гэж ярьж байгаа. Тэрний яг нойтон бөхөөх буюу quenching гэдэг технологиг харлаа. Ийшээгээ болохоор коксчдаг нүүрсийг аваад 1200 градус хүртэл халаагаад дараа нь буцаж өөр вагон руу ачмагцаа тэр дараагийн quenching буюу энэ 5 давхар өндөр байшин маш хүчтэй ус дээрээс нь асгаад 1200 градусаас 200 градус хүртэл хөргөд юм байна. Тэгээ жоохон байсан жагаа 70-80 секунд болсны дараа ахаад ус цацаад ингээд нийт ерөнхийдөө 200 градус болгоод авдаг. Тэгэхэд яг одоо энэ коксын цэвэршээд ингээ гараад ирдэг ийм үйлдвэртэй танилцаад явж байна. Энэ үйлдвэрийн нийт талбай нь бол 6 хөлбөмбөгийн талбайтай тэнцүү гэж хэлж байгаа. Энэ кокс өөрөө химийн үйлдвэрийн томоохон бүтээгдэхүүн, Европод байгаа хамгийн том үйлдвэр гэж бидэнд ярьж байна. Энд 72 камер байгаа. Нийт 120 м урт гэж байгаа. Тэгээд 4-5 давхар байшин шиг өндөр. Тэгээд нэг ажиллаад игсний дараа 40 жил зогсохгүй ажиллах ёстой. Хэрвээ зогсох юм бол энэ нөгөө бэлдсэн энэ церамик камерууд нь хагарна гэж ярьж байгаа юм да. Тэрс болгоно өөрөө 1000 тонн их юм л дээ. Тэгээд энд ийм том хэмжээний үйлдвэрлэл явуулахын тулд энэ янз бүрийн чанартай янз бүрийн коксчдаг нүүрсийг авчраад холиод тэгээ тэндээс асгадаг юм байна. Коксчдаг нүүрсийг өндөр градуст халаахаар маш их хий гардаг. Тэр хий дотор бол маш чухал химийн элементүүд байдаг. Тэр химийн элементүүдийг авахын тулд хоёр янзаар өндөр нам гэсэн хоёр өөр даралтаар юу хэрэгтэйгээс хамаарат боловсруулдаг юм байна. Жишээлбэл бензолыг ихээр авна гэх юм бол өндөр даралтанд хийдэг юм байна. Гэх мэт тэгээд энэ дотроос нь гарч ирж байгаа хий дотроос хамгийн ялгаж авч байгаа юм байна л да. Бүхэл бүтэн үйлдвэр юм байна л да, цэвэрлэдэг. За энэ биш үү цэвэр хөхөр гинэ. 100% цэвэр хөхөр. Ингээд шингэнээр эндээс гарч ирээд тэгээ хэд хэм минутын дараа энэ юм өтгөн болж байгаа. За энэ цэвэр хөхөр бол их үнэтэй бордоо хийхэд хамгийн чухал эдгээр нэлээд сайн борлогддог бүтээгдэхүүн гэж ярьж байгаа. Ийм хэмжээд болохын тулд коксчдаг нүүрсийг өндөр температурт хийгээд уурсан агаарыг хийг аваад янз бүрээр боловсруулсаар байгаа ийм төлөвлөлт авчдаг юм байна.
We visited the National Research Institute of Mining. It has been active in the Upper Silesian region since 1945. The institute specializes in mine safety, new technologies, and protection of the environment from extraction and processing activities. It is also home to a state-of-the-art laboratory that measures the radioactivity of various products and raw materials.
My name is Alicja Krzemień. I'm a professor here in Central Mining Institute in Poland. We are a research institute and we are working mostly for the mining industry, coal mining industry in Poland. But we also do a lot of work for other branches and industries, engineering and nuclear power plants. But I'm also a president of Jargal. Jargal is an association for coal and lignite producers. We are trying to support the industry within the transition that's happening here in Europe. One of the topics that is a really hot topic now in Europe is related to methane, because there is a new EU regulation that states that all the mining companies, they have to just report the emissions, and they have to find the ways to reduce these emissions. So for this reason, we are applying as an institute for EU grants for research to develop new technologies, especially related to low content of methane. I'm talking about ranges from 20 to 30% when we are extracting methane, because we are using the methane with high quality. I mean the concentration over 45%. But then we have quite an issue, there's quite a big issue with the low concentration between 20 and 30. And another problematic issue is the ventilation methane. We are organizing a very interesting event to promote and disseminate results of our EU projects related to methane and recultivation or restoration of coal mine sites. Methane utilization and also artificial soil production with a cooperation with Mongolian partners. So this is something really interesting, and we are hoping to have here a delegation from Mongolia.
What you do in these institutions is something that Mongolia is to do one day, because mining is such an important sector. But here you talk about 100 years of experiences, and we talk just only a few years of, modern mining in Mongolia. So hope that visit of Mongolian delegations will be fruitful mutually.
Thank you very much, and we are very happy that you visited our country. We would like to share our experience with you. As we say sometimes that our history is written with the blood of people who died in the mining industry, and for this reason we really have a good experience with dealing with the natural hazards that occur in underground coal mines.
Одоо яаж уурхай ажил хийж байгаад зарчим нь энэ юм байна. Энэ урт юм 200 м урт. Тэгээ энэ өрөмч нь ингээд өрөмдөөд ингэж явсаар байгаа. Энэ пластик дуусгамагцаа дараа нь энэ бүх юм чинь ийшээгээ явдаг юм байна. А явуулахдаа энэ хойно нурж байгаа юмнаас хамаардаг ийм том дээвэр байна. Тэгээд энэ бүх юмнууд ийшээгээ ингээд хөдөлсөний дараагийн үе өргөдгөө явсны дараа энэ нураад энэ тал нь битүүрээд ойролцоогоор ямар ч цагт нэг ийм хэмжээний хонгил гараад ийш 200 м гэж. Тэгээд ингээд явдаг ийм механизм одоо ч ашиглаж байгаа гэж. Энэ орчин үеийн уул уурхайн гүний нүүрсний уурхайн олборлолтыг одоо ч ингэж хийж байгаа гэж энд үзүүлж байгаа юм байна. Ер нь энэ уурхайн үзэсгэлэн бол энэ хүмүүсийг энэ уурхайн тухай ойлголт өгөх. Ягаад гэвэл энэ хот чинь өөрөө Слезинд байгаа энэ хэд хэдэн жижиг хотод бүгдээрээ ийм ямар нэг хэмжээгээр нүүрсний зөндөө олон уурхайнууд байна. Нийт 70 гаруй байсан байна. Одоогоор хаагдсаар байгаад яг нөгөө нүүрсний олборлолтыг бууруулсан янз бүрийн нөгөө нүүрс хүчний хий бууруулахын тэргээ бүх шаардлагын дагуу явсаар байгаад энэ бүс нутагт байсан 73-4 уурхайнаас одоо дөнгөж 20 хэдэн үлдсэн. Тэгээд ер нь ингээд улам багасгаад явна гэж ярьж байна.
My name is Michał Bończyk. I'm head of Silesian Center for Environmental Radioactivity, part of Central Mining Institute in Katowice, Poland. This lab deals with radioactivity. We measure radioactivity content in samples. We assess the radiological hazard for people, for environment, related to contamination, radioactive contamination in the environment. This contamination could be caused by coal mine industry, energy industry, and other branch of industry. What is important, regardless the process of closing coal mines, the watering process will be continue in the future 100 years or something like that. So even if we have no operating coal mines, the water will be pumping to the surface. This water contains a very high concentration of radium, and the monitoring of this situation is very important. Normally in environment we have a 0.005 becquerels per liter radium. In case of mining water we have a 60 maybe 100, maybe over 100 becquerels per liter. So this is 5 order of magnitude higher than naturally in the environment.
Which could be very dangerous for...
Especially in some geochemical conditions. Sediments can precipitate from this water, and in these sediments we observe even higher concentration of radium, because in sediments the concentration could be up to 1 million becquerels per kilogram. Our responsibility is to measure, to provide reliable measurement of these parameters. We are in the isotopes lab. Here is an X-ray tube which we use for generating X radiation. We can calibrate monitor of radiation here, and also performs irradiation of objects. For instance, we can test shielding properties of concrete and other materials against to the X-ray X-radiation. We can irradiate biological objects, for instance plants, and then biologists can measure damages even in very deep level, like DNA damages caused by irradiation. So generally in this laboratory we generate radiation from isotopic source or X-ray tube.
Isotopic sources like
Cesium, strontium.
So you take isotope of those and creating radioactivity, and you measuring the impact of the radioactivity for example, construction materials that to be used for a special lab, right?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The institute also operates a test mine called Barbara in the town of Mykolaiv. Here, new technologies, equipment, and other mining operations diagnostics are tested and developed. The scientific and research work carried out here forms the foundation of safety standards in Poland's mining industry and is applied in many countries around the world.
Польшийн Катовиц хотоос холгүй 15 км авших энэ туршилтын уурхайд явж байна. 100 жилийн өмнө хаагдсан уурхай. Одоо ингээд уурхайг ашигладагтай холбоотой бүх төрлийн туршилтуудыг хийдэг Европт байгаа ганцхан лаборатори уурхай гинэ. 30-аас 30 м, дараа нь 41 м ийм гүнд ороод тэгээ энэ дотор ер нь энэ уурхай дотор ялангуяа гүний уурхай дотор метаны хий ялгархад ямар нөхцөл байдал үүсдэг, аюулгүй байдлыг хамгаалах үүднээс яах ёстой юм бэ гэдгийг энэ Европт даяараа ирж энд туршилт хийдэг ийм уурхайд ороод бид ингээд доошоо явж байна. Уурхайчдын чинь бас энэ урт хөнгөлөөр алхуулаад байхын оронд яг энэ цааны бааз шиг, цааны лифт шиг ингээд хэвтэйг бас хавтагаар нэг зөөдөг юм тээврийн хэрэгсэл байдаг юм байна. Өлгөөд монорейс гэдэг нэртэй. Тэгээд тэр нь заавал захиргаанаар биш бас батарейгаар ажилладаг тэр туршилтыг энд хийж байгаа юм байна. Нүүрсний гүний уурхай чинь өөрөө бие даасан маш их олон тоног төхөөрөмжөө шаардлагатай юм байна. Ягаад гэвэл гүний уурхай дотор нөгөө метаны хий их хуримтлагдсан байдаг учраас түүнийг нэгдүгээр давах, сорж авах, хоёрдугаар тэр үлдсэн метаныхын хийг бас удирдахгүй болбол жижигхэн жоохон ч гэсэн метаны хий байх юм бол одоо 2%-аас дээш болох юм бол жишээлбэл тоног төхөөрөмж одоо энэ төмөр зам дээгүүр яваад нэг оч үсрэгтэл дэлбэрэлт болдго юм байна л да. Тийм учраас онцгой анхаарсан маш олон арга хэмжээ авдаг. Түүний дотор одоо энэ туршилтын уурхай дотор халааж үздэг юм байна, агаарыг дараа нь хөргөж үздэг юм байна. Ямар ч л гэсэн аюулгүй байдлыг хангах талаар одоо ингээд бүр үнэхээр их зардалтай томоохон ажил болж иж жишээлбэл одоо энд Катовицад энд 1200 м-ийн гүнд одоо уурхайгаас коксчдаг нүүрс олборлож байгаа Европын хамгийн ганцхан хамгийн гүнд байгаа уурхай байдаг. Тэгээд тэр бүхэнд одоо аюулгүй ажлыг хамгаалахын тулд энэ тусгай институт байд юм байна. Тэр нь бүх талаар судалгаа хийдэг. Тэр институтийн харьяанд байгаа одоо 100 жил болж байгаа энэ туршилт институт, тэрний энэ лаборатори нь юм байна. Тийм. За ер нь бол одоо монголчууд бид уурхай бүх нүүрсний уурхай ил явж байгаа. Хэзээ нэгэн цагт доошоо ороод гээд гүнд ороход юм бол энэ метан гэдэг хийтэй ажиллах болно. Нөгөөх нь ер нь угаасаа бид нар одоо Өмнө Говь аймаг энэ 2-3 газар метаны хий олсон байгаа. Тэгээд тэрийг одоо ашиглах гэтэл одоо ямар хөө хэмжээний зардал үйл ажиллагаа болох тухай энд одоо танилцж байгаа.
Experimental Mine Barbara. This is the division of Central Mining Institute, National Research Institute. This year we will celebrate 100 years anniversary of founding this unit. Before it was operational coal mine, but for many years already we are using this underground coal galleries of Experimental Mine Barbara to test different installations and implement new technologies in situ conditions to be introduced later on in operational coal mines.
Underground coal mines.
Underground coal mines, yes, yes. This is a very unique place, not only in Europe, but I dare to say that also in the world, as we have many partners from United States, from China, all leading mining countries who cooperate with us to test their equipment and develop new technologies which aim is to facilitate mining processes and also to make them, or first of all, to make them safe for the mining staff working underground. We run many international projects. We would be happy if our know-how and experience in this domain can be also shared with the Mongolian mining industry. The World Mining Congress is another very special organization. It was established by Polish professor Bolesław Krupiński in 1958, and since this time it is run by Polish chairman. Within our structures, we gather more than 36 countries, mining countries, including Mongolia. We have strong representation from Mongolia. The aim of this Congress is to organize events every 2-3 years at different locations all over the world in order to promote not only new technologies in mining, but also interpersonal contacts, friendships, which always are very fruitful and benefit in mutual cooperation.
All kind of mining?
Yes, all kind
coal,
of mining.
Coal, copper, whatever?
Yes, not only coal.
Okay.
Mining in general.
Okay.
This is the focus.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Short history. Poland's history is a testament to the resilience and perseverance of its people. In 966, Duke Mieszko laid the foundations of a unified Polish state. Centuries later, under the Jagiellonian dynasty from 1386 to 1572, Poland, together with Lithuania, Bohemia, and Hungary, rose to become one of the most powerful states of Europe. The era of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth from 1569 to 1795 is remembered as a golden age of democracy and cultural flourishing. However, this golden age was followed by hardship. Partitioned repeatedly by Russia, Prussia, and Austria in 1772, 1793, and 1795, Poland disappeared from the map of Europe for 123 years. Independence was regained in 1918, only to be tested again by the devastations of the Second World War and the oppression of communist ideology. Trials the Polish people ultimately overcame. Modern Poland lies in the heart of Central Europe. It shares its borders with Germany, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Ukraine, Belarus, Lithuania, Russia, with its northern coast opening onto the Baltic Sea. Covering 313,000 square kilometers, it is the 9th largest country in Europe, yet only 1/5 the size of Mongolia. Geographically, the country consists mainly of vast plains, rolling hills, while the southern region rises into the Carpathian and Sudeten mountains. Poland is home to 38 million people, making it the fifth most populous nation in the European Union. The capital, Warsaw, with over 2 million residents, stands as the country's political, economic, and cultural center. Beyond the capital, cities like Kraków, Gdańsk, Wrocław, and Poznań blend modern development with centuries of history, preserving Poland's rich cultural heritage while embracing the future. One of the most striking chapters in Poland's history is the Warsaw Uprising of 1944. For 63 days, the Polish resistance, the Home Army, fought fiercely against Nazi occupation. The battle was relentless. In the end, German forces crushed the uprising, destroying 85% of Warsaw and leaving the city in ruins. Yet even in defeat, the uprising endures as a symbol of Poland's unyielding spirit and its fight for freedom and national unity.
Энэ Варшав хотын хоёр том жуулчдад очдог газар байд юм байна. Нэг нь еврейчүүд хүмүүсээ гэж байдаг юм байна. Нөгөөх нь 1900 энэ Польшууд Варшавын бослогын музей гэж байгаа. За энэ болохоор яг 44 онд болсон. 44 онд немцүүд Польшуудыг устгаж эхэлсэн. Хотыг устгаж эхэлсэн. Яагаад гэвэл Польш бол одоо ариун үндэстэн биш. Ариун үндэстэн гэдэгт нь одоо энэ баруун Европынх орж исэн. Зүүн Европынх ялангуяа Польшууд, Оросууд, Украинууд бүгдээрээ хүн биш гэж үзэж исэн. Тийм учраас тэднийг газартай тэгшлэх хэрэгтэй. Хот нь болохоор зүгээр хөдөөнийх нь газар байх ёстой гэж үзэж исэн. Нэг талаасаа. Нөгөө талаасаа 44 он гэхэд нөгөө Сталинградын дараа немцүүд ялагдаад ер нь бол өшөөг авч эхэлсэн. Оросууд баруун энэ Вислаг голоо чинь баруун ирэг дээр нь ирсэн байсан. Тэгээд энэ зүүн иргээс нь ахуулаад авж болох, хулгайлж болох бүх юмыг авч ачаад тэгээд хотын энэ байшин болгонд руу өрөмдөж ягаад дэлбэрт бодис хийж ягаад дэлблээ яваад ирсэн юм байна. Тэгээд сая энэ музей үзэхэд энэ дотор үнэхээр Варшав гэж тэгэхэд сая 200 мянган хүн байсан энэ улсын нийслэлийг үндсэнд нь устгасан байгаа. Тэгээд бараг 1000 хүн үлдээгээд хүн амьдрах ямар ч боломжгүй. Үнэхээр тийм үнсэн товрог болгоод газартай тэгшлээд хайцсан байна. 80% гэж байгаа шүү. Тэр ийм аимшигтай улс орныг соёл иргэншлийг нь устгаж ийсэн. Тэгээд тэрнийхэн төлөө төвтэй рүү алгадна гэд иргэд нь улам зориг ороод маш хүчтэй бослог гарч ийсэн байна. Энэ тухай энэ музейд гарж ийн. Ер нь Польшийн түүхийг, Польшуудыг ойлгох гэвэл бас энэ музейг үзэх хэрэгтэй гэж харж байна.
Warsaw became the capital of the Kingdom of Poland and Lithuania in 1596. Because in 1596, the king, Sigismund III Vasa, who was an elective king of Poland, moved his capital from Kraków, which was the then capital, until then capital of Poland, into the castle in Warsaw.
And then this castle was destroyed during the Second World War.
It was completely destroyed in the Second World War. Yes, because before the Second World War, this was where the president of Poland, of the Second Republic of Poland, had his office. So there was a symbol of statehood of the Polish state. And the Germans did not appreciate that because in their idea, anything eastwards of Berlin was to be devoid of culture and civilization. We could say that. So for them, Warsaw was supposed to only be a small village settlement of a few thousand people. They did not want it to be a capital of, well, before the Second World War, 1.5 million people lived here. Then it was rebuilt in 1970s. There were some protests against the communist government because at that time you had the communists in power in Poland. The people who were thinking about reconstructing the castle used this time of upheaval to negotiate with the communists, and one of the concessions that the communists have decided to give to the people was that they will rebuild the royal castle.
So it is exactly the type, shape, color as it was before.
So they went back, when they were reconstructing the castle, they went back not to how it used to look like before the war, but how it used to look like in the times of the last king of Poland, Stanisław August
so even
Poniatowski.
older one.
So to the times of the end of the 18th century. When they were reconstructing the old town that we see here, the old town is also a reconstruction. They went back even further. Well, they went back to around that time as well. But for example, the city walls that we see here, those were not here in the 18th century. Those are they come from around the 14th, 15th century, and they were just reconstructed to give the tourists an idea of how the city could have looked like.
I see. What is that building about on the left side, right side?
This is St. Anna's Church. So it's one of the
very big church.
Yes, it's the church over there. You see the entrance over there with the columns. This is the entrance to the St. Anna's Church.
Okay, looking at that, what are those red buildings?
The red buildings are just the rooftops. So most of the Warsaw Old Town is known for the red rooftops. They will have either red or green if it's like, for example, the Cathedral of St. John that we will see later. But these small buildings, usually 2-3 stories, they would have just this kind of tiles on the roof that would be red in color.
What is that big structure?
The big structure over there is the National Stadium built for the Euro Cup 2012, which we co-hosted with Ukraine. So Poland and Ukraine co-hosted the tournament in football and soccer.
During the 1980s, the Solidarity movement arose under the leadership of Lech Wałęsa, emerging as a pivotal force in Poland that sparked the fight for democracy, ultimately leading within a decade to the collapse of the communist regime. Today, democratic Poland has transformed into a thriving economy worth $810 billion with a per capita income reaching $24,000, making it the fastest growing country in the European Union. Agriculture. In 2023, agriculture contributed about 3% to Poland's GDP, above the European Union average. The sector is highly productive thanks to modern technologies and EU support that boosted crop yields and livestock numbers. Poland is a major exporter of apples, berries, poultry, dairy products, processed meat, and canned foods. It ranks first in the European Union for apple production. We visited the Mlekowita dairy plant in Wysokie Mazowieckie region.
За энэ одоо сүүний машин орж ирж байна. Ийм машин энэ үйлдвэр улс даяараа 26 үйлдвэртэй юм байна. Тэгээ нэг үйлдвэр тус болгоно 100 км-ийн дотор сүүгээ цуглуулдаг гэж байна. Жишээлбэл ийм машинаар нийт 1500 фармаас энийг цуглуулдаг гэж байна шүү. 5 зэрэг орж ирэх шугамтай юм байна. Яг одоо өглөө саацсан сүү түүхээр орж ирж байгаа гинэ.
The largest dairy factory in Central and Eastern Europe. The company operates 26 plants, 25 laboratories, and 36 distribution centers across Poland. It buys 8 million liters of milk per day from 15,000 farms, employs 5,000 people, and produces 1,800 types of dairy products. In 2022, the total revenue reached 2.2 billion euros. Today, Mlekowita exports 30% of its products to 160 countries.
100 тонн буюу 100 тонн буюу сая литр сүү хатаадаг гэдэг юм. Temperature 120-оос 150 градуст халаад юм байна. Тэгээ тэр үйлдвэр нь бол зөвхөн энэ headquarters буюу хамгийн том эндээ байдаг юм байна. Бусад нь тэр 20 хэдэн үйлдвэр чинь тийм чадваргүй. Тийм учраас сүүнийхээ хагасыг аваад хагасыг наашгаа явуулдаг гэж хэлж байна. Энэ хараа литр бол энэ шуутай болгонд нь 25 кг байгаа гинэ. Тэгээд шоколад үйлдвэрлэдэг янз бүрийн ийм хүнсний бүтээгдэхүүн үйлдвэрүүд ийм том бөөнөр нь авд юм байна. Тэгээд энэ 25 кг-аар багцсан ийм хүүдийн хуурайсаг бол ингэж хийдэг юм ба шүү дээ. Том хэрэглэгч байдаг учраас ингэж томоор авдаг тийм. Ийм тусгай савнд хийдэг юм байна хараа. Давхар ингэ хийцэн ингээд 25 кг-аар баглаад тэгээд yes.
Here we have glue, here we have glue. Closing.
Machine does.
Heating.
Heating, I see. За ингээд Англи, Франц хэлээр хийсэн бүтээгдэхүүнүүд байна. Тэгээд энийг ингэж өөрөөр нь багцлаад нэг pallet гэж ийм болгоод тэгээд сая Франц хэлээр ягаа хийсэн гэсэн Сенегал руу явуулдаг гинэ. Гэх мэтээр энэ хуурайс уу хэрэгцээтэй оронд нь энийг гаргах юм байна гэж ойлголоо.
Polish pickled foods are renowned for their centuries-old traditions, natural fermentation methods, and distinctive sour flavors. They are also prized worldwide for their export quality. One example is Brace Urbanek. Founded in 1990 by the Urbanek brothers, the company is famous for its traditional recipes and natural ingredients, producing pickled cucumbers, beets, cabbage, mushrooms, fruits, and more, all exported to over 20 countries. Since 1993, Mongolia has imported over 80 varieties of Urbanek products valued for their unique flavors, recipes, and packaging. Pharmaceutical industry. Poland's pharmaceutical industry is the fifth largest in European Union after Germany, France, Italy, and Spain. It contributes 4.5 billion euros annually to the national economy and is a rapidly growing sector. For example, we visited TZF Polfa, a company based in Warsaw. It began producing pharmaceuticals as early as 1823. Today, Polfa operates 30 production lines, employs over 1,000 people, and produces more than 100 different medicines. The company's products include antibiotics, pain relievers, and cardiovascular drugs, with 70% supplied to hospitals across Poland. All medicines are prescription-based and produced in facilities that meet the highest international quality and safety standards. The company also exports insulin, psychiatric medications, and dermatological treatments to more than 40 countries across 4 continents. In Mongolia, certain medicines from TZF Polfa are imported by Timus Monas Company. Polish-Mongolian relations. Historical relations between Poland and Mongolia date back many centuries. A defining moment was the Battle of Legnica in 1241, when Mongol forces clashed with European knights in a confrontation that left a lasting mark on the continent. A detailed exhibition about this battle can be seen in the Museum of Legnica.
My name is Konrad Byś. I work for the History Department of the Copper Museum in Legnica, and I'm the supervisor of this place, of the Museum of the Battle of Legnica. We begin the story.
Genghis Khan's army had reached into the very heart of Europe. News of its mighty force had spread across the European lands following the conquest of Kiev, and with the speed of lightning, it swept in from every direction to already arrive at the borders of Poland, shocking the entire continent. The Great Khan's brilliant general Subede led 50,000 troops toward Hungary and dispatched 20,000 more toward Germany through Poland, while conquering European cities one after another. Duke Henry II of Silesia united the finest knights from Poland, Germany, and France with miners and gathered 30,000 troops to stand against the Mongols in a battle on April 9, 1241, in the fields of Legnica. At the beginning of the battle, the Mongols feigned retreat, luring the enemy to pursue them and separating them from their main force. When the Polish horses grew weary, the Mongols frightened them with smoke and noise, then shattered the enemy with a fierce onslaught of arrows. Duke Henry II was captured and beheaded. His head was mounted on a spear as the Mongols marched toward the fortress. At the gates of the city, the Mongols then vanished just as swiftly as they had appeared. Historians explain that the true objective was not Poland, but the conquest of Hungary. This battle was an event in which the finest of Europe's armed forces were defeated, and it became a historic page that gave rise to legends and works of art immortalizing the bravery of Duke of Silesia and his troops. Later, during the Second World War, it is said that the Germans studied the Mongols' method of warfare and developed the concept known as Blitzkrieg. The location of the Battle of Legnica and its historical records have been preserved to this day, continuing to attract the interest of historians and tourists alike. Since the opening of its doors in 2016, this exhibition has been visited annually by 2,000 to 3,000 tourists. The exhibition is divided into 4 sections. First, the advanced military strategies of the Mongol Empire. Second, the Battle of Legnica. Third, the reports of envoys who traveled to the Mongol Empire. Fourth, artistic works dedicated to the Duke of Silesia. The exhibition highlights that the Mongol Empire was, in its time, more advanced than many European states. The descriptions and the accompanying documentary film are presented in 7 languages, including Mongolian. This exhibition was made possible through the support of Poland's Ministry of Culture, the Silesian Mining Company representatives, and the citizens of Legnica. Although once brought together by battle, over the course of time the two peoples came to mutual respect and understanding. Thus the exhibition has become a symbol of friendship and culture, which is why we named it At the Crossroads of Two Worlds. Our wish is for more and more people to come and experience our exhibition, said the chief curator, Mr. Konrad Bisch. In Krakow's central square, crowds gather every hour to hear the bugle call from St. Mary's Basilica. The sudden end of the melody is also connected to the story of the Mongol invasion, when he was struck by an arrow and killed, causing the melody to break off abruptly.
We are in Krakow in the main market. It's called St. Mary's Basilica. It is one of the most beautiful and most well-known churches in Poland. The reason we are here is that we want to listen to the trumpet play, and this trumpet call is connected with our history with Mongolian visit in 1241. Now you hear 4 bells, which are 4 quarters of an hour. Then the big bell will strike 11 times and you will see a trumpeter play a tune. This will be a very simple tune because it was the alarm that we used to play when enemy approached the city. The alarm tune will end suddenly. I stop now, you listen, you see what you look. So the legend has it that when always in place of problems, there was the highest point in the city where the watchman was looking what's happening. Today it's a person from fire department. And this guy, when Tartars came to the walls of the city, he started to play alarm. But Tartars were very skillful bowmen. So they allegedly managed to shoot him down through the trumpet or through the throat. So it stops suddenly.
Yes,
Of course, it's impossible to shoot someone from that height. However, this church wasn't here. There was a smaller church in the same place. So it is is possible. And we have been playing this day and night, 24 hours a day for 700 years. So it's a very...
Night at 3 o'clock they do.
Yeah, you come at 2 o'clock in the morning, they do it 4 times to 4 corners of Earth.
Because it is signaling that Mongolians are coming.
It became a great legend.
I see.
In reality, I believe it was invented by one of the tour guys in the 19th century.
Science and art. Poles have made significant contributions to world science and art. To date, 18 scholars from this country have been awarded 19 Nobel Prizes. Among them, Maria Skłodowska-Curie received the prize twice, once in physics in 1903 and again in chemistry in 1911. If we also include Jewish people of Polish origin, the total number of Nobel laureates would be even higher. To highlight just 2 world-renowned geniuses, Nicolaus Copernicus, known as the man who moved the earth, the great scholar, transformed humanity's understanding of the universe. In 1543, he proved that it is not the sun that orbits the earth, but rather the earth that orbits the sun. His heliocentric theory sparked a scientific revolution that forever changed the course of human thought. One of the many monuments dedicated to him stands in the courtyard of Jagiellonian University in Krakow. There is also a statue of Copernicus in Ulaanbaatar, in the garden of the Mongolian Academy of Sciences. Frédéric Chopin, known as the poet of the piano, Frédéric Chopin is a symbol of Poland's cultural and artistic heritage. Born in 1810, he drew inspiration from Polish folk traditions to compose some of the most beautiful works of the Romantic era. His music continues to delight listeners around the world. Although Chopin lived in France, in accordance with his will, his sister brought his heart back to his homeland, where it was enshrined in the Holy Cross Church in Warszawa. In Ulaanbaatar, a monument to the great Chopin and a street bearing his name can be found in the Zasung district. The country also has a long tradition of Mongol studies. In 1914, the renowned scholar Ladislav Kotvich conducted the first census of Mongolia's population. His records, together with more than 1 million other documents on Mongolian studies, are preserved today in the archives of the Polish Academy of Sciences in Krakow. The main center of contemporary Mongol studies in Poland is the Department of Mongolian and Tibetan Studies at the University of Warszawa's Faculty of Oriental Studies. The department offers bachelor's, master's, and doctoral programs alongside active academic research. It is headed by Dr. Agata Bareja-Starzyńska, with language instruction provided by Mr. Jan Rogala. Both scholars are well known for their excellent command of Mongolian. The two countries established diplomatic relations in 1950 and began cooperation in education, trade, and science. Polish specialists helped build 9 factories in Mongolia, including a brick factory in Darkhan, a wood processing plant in Ulaanbaatar, and a thermal power station in Harharum. Today, cooperation between Mongolia and Poland continues to develop in the fields of higher education, science, healthcare, and defense. Since 1960s, around 1,000 Mongolian students have studied and graduated from Polish universities. At present, about 170 students are pursuing their studies in Poland. State and government relations. High-level state visits have become a tradition between the two countries. Most recently, in April 2023, President Andrzej Duda of Poland paid a state visit to Mongolia. And in March 2025, President Hurulsukh of Mongolia paid a return visit to Poland. These exchanges mark important steps in deepening political and economic ties between the two countries. During President Hurulsukh's visit, representatives of the two states signed a series of agreements to expand cooperation between their governments in areas such as culture, science, healthcare, and others. A business forum was also held in Warsaw, bringing together more than 180 enterprises from both countries across a wide range of sectors. In 2024, trade turnover between Poland and Mongolia reached $105 million, $1 million from Mongolian exports and $104 million from Poland. Among EU members, Poland is the largest exporter to Mongolia.
Mongoлийн хувьд Польш бол Европ руу гарах үе таанаа гэж ойлгоцсон явж байгаа. Польшийн үндсэн хуулийг та орчуулж исэн гэж байгаа. Тэр ямар учиртай, ямар ялгаатай, ямар ач холбогдолтой юм бэ?
Ер нь бол 1992 онд бол Польш улс 4-р үндсэн хуулиа батлаад хэрэгжүүлсэн 92 оны намар. Манайх 92 оны 1 сард Монгол улсын үндсэн хууль батлагдсан байгаа. Гэхдээ чимэдгөө хүртэл 91 онд бол энэ дээр зөвлөгөө авч яасан. Зах зээл хүний эрхийг хамгаалсан энэ нийгмийн философик дүрмийг оруулж ирсэн байгаа. Хамгийн наад нь одоо би олон жил ярьж байгаа шүү дээ. Нийтийн санхүү гэж үндсэн хуулийн том бүлэг байдаг. Нийтийн санхүүгээс хинээс хамгаалах уу? Төрийн өндөр албан тушаалтангаас төрөөс нь өөрөө нийтийн санхүүг хамгаалах. Тийм учраас Монгол банк нь тэмцэр орж ирсэн байдаг. Хүний эрхийн комиссн орж ирсэн байдаг.
Банкны Төвөрбаатарын Насанбаяр Польшийн эдийн засгийн чөлөөт бүс гэж байдаг. Тэнд ажиллаж байгаа монгол хүн юм байна. За танай энэ эдийн засгийн бүс их сонирн байна. Яагаад манайх гадаадын хөрөнгө оруулалт татахаар ярьж байгаа Монгол улс эдгээр яаж татчихжээ, яаж ажиллаж энэ тоо тавьж ярьж өгөхгүй юу?
За парламентийн шинэ хууль батлагдаад 2007 оноос болохоор хойш болоод Польшийн бүх нутаг дэсэг маань одоо тусгай бүс гэж явагдаж байгаа. Ерөнхийдөө болоод энэ тусгай бүс маань Польшийн нутаг дэсэд 15 байдаг. Байршлах зэшлэлгалаад. Дээдлийн том байгууллага маань болохоор цахим үйлчлийн яам гэж байдаг. Бид нар одоо цахим үйлчлийн яамны сайдын өмнөөс одоо тухайн одоо хөрөнгө оруулагч маань одоо Польшд ирээд тухайн газраа ингээ үзээд сонирхоод за энэ ч би үйлдвэр
Польшид энэ тодорхой энэ хэсэгт нь Монголыг төлөөд суугаа өргөмжит консул Марчин Мистардтай уулзж байна.
I am convinced that we can pass a lot of information and knowledge, and together we can learn a lot. Dziękuję bardzo za
Dziękuję również. Dziękuję.
President Hurulsukh also presented state honors orders and medals to citizens from both countries who have made outstanding contributions to strengthening bilateral relations in their respective fields.
Өргөн дэвшүүлээ та бүхний гэр бүл бүр хүүхэд хамт олонд бас сайн сайхан бүхнийг хүсье өргөж байна.
Among those honored, two individuals stood out. Mr. Jan Koblak, president of Horus Energia, was awarded the Friendship Medal. Professor Desztawagin Cholonczyk, director of the Polish company Otoczmanal, a leading physician and professor of traditional medicine, received the title of Merited Worker of Health.
Polish-Mongol улсын дипломат харилцааны 75 жилийн ой болж байна. Ингээд би 41 жил эрүүл мэндийн салбарт одоо хоёр гүйцэтгэлээр зүтгэж явна. Польш улсууд 50,000 жилийн одоо түүхтэй энэ Монгол эмнэлгийг шүтэж одоо сонгож энэ бусад орноос уламжлалт ангаахын ардын эмнэлгийг одоо сонгож үйлчлүүлж байгаа нь энэ Польшийн ард түмний бас мундаг ухааны соёл болов гэж би боддгийг.
За ингээд Монгол хэмж нартай одоо бас баяр хүргэе. Амжилт хүсье.
Баярлалаа.
President Hurulsuch also met with 100 Mongolian students studying in Poland under the Ilgelt 2100 scholarship program. His state visit marked an important milestone in the history of relations between the two countries. The Marunghor ensemble performed in full composition, presenting masterpieces of Mongolian composers and traditional music. The concert was dedicated not only to the Mongolian community living in Poland, but also to distinguished guests from the Polish government, cultural circles, and the wider public. Dear viewers, this has been a brief introduction to the Polish people who have overcome great historical challenges to build a dynamic, united, and innovative nation. We have also explored key sectors of Poland's economy and the growing multifaceted cooperation between Mongolia and Poland. We are pleased to have shared this knowledge with you. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.